Hey everybody, welcome back to Josh Gets Lost. Today we're going to be pairing this guy up and making the most stunning villager breeder for our world. And it's going to be fully automatic, so we can get lots of these guys to help us out and to populate our new city that we're building. Let's go. So as we start this project today, we're going to need to do some basic layout for our city. And part of that is going to be determining where the roads are going and how big they're going to be. Those are important parts of our city. And so we're just going to begin digging out. Kind of always plan for there to be a side street back here behind my house. That's why we got the wall, keep those passersby from getting into our beautiful garden. Let's try to go let's test out probably 5 wide and see what that looks like. Usually you want to go odd just because it's easier to put stuff in the middle, but it doesn't really matter. It's up to you. I am going to leave a 1 block space in between the houses so that, I can customize maybe sidewalks or landscape on those things. And we're going to be using slabs. We got here an assortment of cobblestone slabs. We're going to mix in some andesite slabs as well. And we're going to kind of place these all in sort of random patterns where there's sort of little veins and textures of each of the blocks, but one of them does not dominate or overwhelm all the rest. And I think that's going to look the best overall as we get this city street made to go. Remember, our era is kind of like early 1920s style. So we want it to be paved, which roads were back then. But we don't want it looking, too much like the pure black asphalt and white lines that you see in brand new modern roadways. Maybe think of your roads like, after winter, if you live in the Northern Hemisphere. That's probably kind of what this looks like. And we're going to mix in a little bit of this cobbled deep slate slabs just to give it a little bit more shadow as we look at it. And I'm just now realizing that 5 wide's a little big for a side street, and it's going to kind of really eat up our space. So maybe let's take this down to 3 wide, and with that extra block on each side that we're going to be leaving in front of the houses or buildings, that will essentially give us kind of a 5 wide street structure without fully making the street 5 wide. So let me tear this down and we're going to reset the size just a little bit. Now, one of my reasons for using slabs on these roads is that it makes it easy for us to staircase up. Remember, in our kind of developed part of our world, we don't want to leave spots where we have to jump to travel around. And so we could use stairs every once in a while, but having the slabs gives us a chance to kind of keep the same pattern going. It also, there's a lot more block variants that have slabs than have stairs. It's something you'll discover about Minecraft. And so using the slabs will, if we ever want to incorporate some of those other block variants, that would be very helpful as well. Let's begin to go. And we're going to kind of, as we start going up this hill, I'm thinking kind of two deep sets for each slab. So that means every 4 blocks we'll be going up a whole step, which means we're going to have to do quite a bit of digging and mining out the stone that's up here. So let's do our 2 here. There we go. And we're going to do 2 more. And we're going to keep staircasing our way up like so. All right, and finally, at long last, we are coming up to the top of the hill here, where I think we're going to make this road kind of turn the corner and head around the mountain instead of continuing to dig our way through it. But that means down here on the left side, we're going to have to dig out quite a bit of this to, if we want to build a building here in the future that sort of runs on the same block as our house. We'll want to be able to build that building without it completely blocking the structure that we're going to be putting behind it for the villager breeder. So as you're planning out your city, you got to think about things like sight lines and where you're going to be viewing stuff. And it usually is going to involve a lot of changing the terrain of Minecraft to fit the builds and the style that you're wanting. And here we go, adding the final touches onto this turn for now. and we'll see where that goes in the future. Okay, now we got to dig out all this to match the terrace terrain that we've just made. More digging, more mining. Here we go. And after a bit, we finally are reaching the end of our terracing here. You can tell we have all these nice flat surfaces to build on. And if you're wondering, wait, Josh, how are you going to build a building on this crazy terrace? Why didn't you just make it all flat? Well, you'll see as we get into this project. So time to start on our villager breeder. Because if I've learned one thing, build the farms first and then build the building around them after, because you don't want to be cramped for space. So let's put away all our resources. Looks like we got lots of stone and dirt now for future things. And we're going to begin building this by building a basic farm. So let's head on up. Of course, it begins raining right as I'm starting to build. I do have all this lit up, but I'm kind of just judging the height here that I'm going to want for this spot. It's not really a big concern how high I want to start it because I'll always have room down low, but I need it to be a little bit off the ground so that I can match up with some elements of the villager breeder that are going to be important for later on. So an automatic villager breeder, for it, just as for any farm, we're going to talk about the 3 C's. Now remember from our swamp video, the first C is the conditions. We need to set the conditions for villagers to be able to breed. So that's going to involve getting at least 2 villagers up here. With 2 villagers, we're going to need 3 beds somewhere in close proximity to them so that they think there's room in their lives for another little person. The final part of the C is that both of them are happy and healthy and not starving to death, which means we're going to be setting up this farm here. We're basically building our 9x9 farm structure, and we're going to be setting this up so that if we get one of these villagers in the setup to be a farmer, he will actually plant and replant the crops, and he'll feed the other villager, which means they'll always have enough food and they'll be able to have as many babies as they can handle, at least till we shut off the farm. So those are the conditions. So let's begin working on this and make our farm. All right, let's add a leaf block there in the middle spot and add the water. Now you see with a leaf block, the water will waterlog it, but it will not leak below, which is kind of nice. So we could actually leave that empty underneath and have that leaf block there. And the other advantage of putting that leaf block there is because it's a full block, unlike say some other kinds of things, we'll be able to set some stuff on it. You could also use a bottom slab or a stair. I just wanted to use one of our pretty pink cherry blocks. All right. We're going to be using a light source. For those of you who maybe haven't gone to the nether yet, this is a great square light that you can easily make. Get a pumpkin, use a pair of shears to carve it, and then you can put a torch inside of it and make a jack-o'-lantern. I hope you guys had a happy Halloween. You got lots of candy if you celebrate that thing. We're going to be putting a composter here in the middle that will keep our farmer villager happy to have a workstation. And we're going to put that light right there in the middle to keep the farm nice and safe and our crops lit. We'll probably maybe add a few torches to the side too once we get more of the walls done. But for now, that's going to give enough light to all of our crops. And having those square there instead of like a torch will keep our villagers from trying to jump on top of the composter. Because remember, if you jump on tilled soil, it's going to turn it from tilled to untilled. And the thing with even farmer villagers is that they cannot till their own crops. So we have to pre-till all of this, get these crops started for them. We're going to use potatoes. Because they don't have any of the complications that, say, something like wheat would have. Carrots is usually another strong choice for these automatic villager breeders. And now we're going to think about collection. Specifically, the second C, how do we collect the babies? Because what will happen is if they are just simply contained in here, the babies will actually want to occupy that third bed, and that will keep them from being able to have more babies. So we're going to be setting up a basic system where through this trap door, the villagers will be able to see out onto this patio where we're going to put some beds. the babies will think that they can get out here to the beds, but we're going to use a trapdoor on the bottom here to keep them from being able to do that. And the baby villagers will actually just fall down the hole into a water collection system that we'll be setting up. And of course, because we have the trapdoor on the top of that too high structure, the adult villagers will be able to see outside to the beds, but will not actually be able to leave because they need a full 2 blocks to be able to maneuver out. You can actually make this collection chamber as deep as you want it to be. The biggest thing is you're going to want to move them a certain amount of blocks away from the adult villagers and the beds, because that way they will not stay linked to them, and the adults who are in the breeder will be able to continue to have more children for it. So we're going to set up a little water system here. They're going to fall down that chute into water, be nice and safe, and then they're going to flow through it all the way down to the end here. A key part here is putting some signs that will make it possible for our villagers to be able to be in the right spots to get moved up when they are adults. As you've seen with villagers, it's much easier to contain them when they are adults. So we're going to add these. This will basically keep water from suffocating our villagers. And, you know, that's a very important sign there you should look at if you see it. Oops, that one doesn't match, but I don't really care. Here we go. That's going to happen because we are going to bring water down from the top. That will be the way that we get the villagers up when they are adults and not when they are little children. And even though our villager breeder is going to end up inside of another structure here after we enclose this thing, we do want to go ahead and make at least all of these walls too high so the villagers do not escape from the farm. Not that they'd ever want to, because we're giving them a wonderful life. I mean, we're giving them a mate for life. We're giving them as much food as they could have. I mean, what's not to love? I guess it kind of sounds like a zoo when you mention it like that. And I'm going to go ahead right here and make a little pathway to make it possible to move our villagers up and down into the farm. In fact, I'm going to make, with dirt here, a little staircase down so that they can get here as well. May have to sacrifice a crop space for the moment to take care of that, but we'll fix that later. Now for the part everyone wanted to see, the moving of the stupid villagers. I love villagers, but no, why are you going that way? So villagers can be moved a couple ways. You can use mine carts, which we haven't really introduced in this series. You can use boats, which you've seen, like so. And they will go to the nearest workstation, or if it's night, they will go to the nearest bed that is not claimed. So what we want to do is use workstations, aka these composters that I'm putting here, to lure the villagers up and into the farm. That way we don't have to waste a lot of resources building like a minecart track. And obviously boats can't go uphill, so that becomes a bit of an issue. But we have a house and work area that is full of workstations, and oh, he's coming back. He was trying to maybe go that way to pathfind up. Looks like he is back. Come on, buddy. Yeah, you want to be a farmer. Yeah, you do. Let's get you in. And by now, when you get them close enough, they should actually key in on that composter that is in our spot. Very good. I'm going to actually go ahead and break that lower block because it won't hurt the second villager to fall that extra block into the farm. But I don't want that guy to leave since I just got him in there. So that's very important. Let's go out and get our guy that we've been keeping offshore. Wait, nope, never mind. Let's go sleep so we can get rid of, I think this is a thunderstorm. And we're going to do something later to protect our villagers from thunder, but we don't have it in place right now. Hurry. Oop. That got real. All right. Now that it is nice out again, let's go get our snowy villager, bring him in. And this is going to be awesome. One of the reasons why you might be asking, Josh, why did you bring villagers from two really weird looking places over? Of course, the swamp villager we brought over because we're sort of playing along with the suggested updates where you'll need a swamp villager to get mending. And so we set that up. Nope, don't go down that hole. Come this way. I have a nice place for you. You're going to love it. The reason is when you breed villagers, there is a chance that the babies will become the biome that one of the parents is. So in this case, there's a chance that they will be a snowy taiga, or I guess just snowy villager, or that they will be a swamp villager. And if you look at where we're located, we're actually kind of in a, although we're on the mountain, we're sort of in a plains biome, the way villages work. And so we would also get plains villagers, because the third style that you can get is where your village is located. And we saw that with the swamp villager, where we actually had 2 plains villagers that we bred in a swamp to get the swamp villager. So there's a potential for 3 different types of villagers in here. I'm actually going to trade with this villager, sell him some potatoes. Kind of ironic, since he's a potato farmer, that I would be selling him potatoes. But I don't really need that emerald as much right at the moment, but I do need to lock in. That way he doesn't like de-link from that workstation for some reason. Just having that locked in will keep him a farmer forever and not mess up the mechanics here with this farm. And speaking of that thunderstorm we had a bit ago, let's make a lightning rod out of 3 copper ingots and put it somewhere over. Oh, they're already feeling love. I would sing Can You Feel the Love Tonight, but I don't think you guys want me to, because I'm not a great singer. And there's our first baby. It's a snow baby. Hello, little snow baby. Hope you have fun. All right, I'm going to go put down a lightning rod to protect your family. You want to put it on a block that's not flammable, especially for those of you who did not turn fire tick off in your world. You don't want to burn down your entire base with a lightning rod. But that will, within 100 blocks or so of our village, protect our village from being struck by lightning, because lightning will turn our villagers into witches, which we do not want. So you can see here the baby is waiting. When he's grown up, his head will get caught in that water stream and he will swim up. Wandering trader, anything good? No dark oak. Okay, no dark oak means you go into that barrel in my storage. Oh, and while I was taking care of him, a second baby came out. This one was a swamp villager, just like mom and dad. All right, let's get some XP. We are going to name our horse. I felt bad we hadn't named him after all the help he gave us finding that village last time. We're going to name him Seabiscuit, after the famous racing horse from the 1930s. And I grew up in the 90s, so a little bit of a 90s joke there with the second part of the name. There you go. And while we were there, we wanted to get an axe because we have a bunch of wood to chop. And my first axe is almost dead, and I don't have bending yet. So we're going to make that axe because we have a lot to do to plant a bunch of trees and chop them down, because we are going to need a lot of different colors of wood for this project, including our wonderful acacia trees over here. We're going to collect some of that. There we go. We're going to also try to grow some of this warped wood here. You can actually turn netherrack into the nylium if you have a piece of nylium and you bone mill netherrack next to it. You can get that, and if you bone mill the nylium, you could get the mushrooms and grow the shortest tree ever, or fungus. Yeah, we don't have a lot of bone mill, so I might have to go back to the nether to get more of those trees later. Time to get some mangrove wood, which is a really pretty red color on the inside. Now my strategy with this is to either climb the vines up or scaffold up in the early game. Later game, there's some other ways to get up here and begin chopping from the top down. The mangrove kind of grows in a little bit of like a staircase pattern off in different shoots, kind of like real tree branches, I guess. But it's obviously a lot less easy to farm and cut than, say, the spruce, which just grows in those nice 2x2 columns that you can staircase up. So I usually come up to the top and just kind of work my way down, make sure I don't miss any of the red logs, so the leaves will actually despawn at some point. And we're going to dig down here. Usually come to a point where you get to the main part of the trunk. Oops, looks like there's even a little offshoot down here. There we go. And just kind of have to check through the trees just to make the leaves, just to make sure there's nothing. Oh, and now we've arrived at the roots and the moss carpet. The roots are really cool blocks. There's some cool building and decorating uses for them later in the game. So that's something definitely worth collecting and keeping as you get those in your world. And of course, can't forget our cherry wood, because we're going to try to incorporate this as much as possible in our world, with it being the newest tree in Minecraft. And it's also just kind of fun. And you don't always get builds that you can fit it into. So being able to fit it into well, our current project is a big deal. Looks like the villagers have been busy while we've been over chopping trees. Looks like that adult is about ready to head up the water column. He just needs to move a little forward. Is he gonna head up? Nope, there he goes. And you can see there the baby is still below, and when they've grown up, they go there. I did have to go back into the nether to collect some more of that, but after all the chopping, finally got at least 4 stacks of every type of wood that we're going to need. I also, for the roof on this project, I'm going to turn cobbled deep slate into deep slate tile stairs. This is going to be similar in color to what we did on our house, but just different enough to not make it, you know, samey same. We also are going to make, using some squid ink turned into black dye, some tinted glass, stained glass, I mean, not tinted, stained. I always make that mistake. And let's get started on our house here. Building up, I forgot to hit record for a minute. There we go. Our look here is sort of kind of a Victorian. We've got that little kind of bay window thing happening there again. We're going to strip all these logs. That purple color, you can actually see it moving a bit on the outside of these. It's good for some things, but it definitely will not match our build. And it's a little hard to incorporate, especially for a kind of 1920s style San Francisco or residential New York kind of home that we're thinking of. Bright purple glowing things just wouldn't work. Hello, villagers. We're going to continue to use these logs for our cross beams, use planks for some of the interior blocks, just to give it a little bit of contrast, but also just kind of makes sense to do it that way. Let's set this up. We're going to have a little ground floor window and door. Let's put the window over there. And we're going to be using birch here to kind of set off and just be a little contrast for the colors that are going to be in this build. So that's a good use of different types of wood, but of course is also filling up our inventory very fast. Let's add a frame to our second floor window here and add another cross beam as well. And also kind of keep an eye on our villagers, making sure they're behaving up there. This is me trying to figure out how exactly these are coming to a point. We do have a attic window that we're going to put down here. So I think that is the spot for it. And let's go ahead and strip these. Oh, and we want to raise up these middle two so that the house comes to a nice point here from the front. This is an even house, which I think I told you guys last time to build odd houses so the doors match up, but you'll see why I'm doing even here. It tended to work better for this design. And I'm 1 block too close to the street. So I have rebuilt it all to this point, 1 block back. We're going to add these birch trapdoors as shutters for our windows and replace the point of the house yet again. Make sure that is sloped properly. And I'm practicing my water bucket clutches from the top here. I think I did it. I did make a mess though. House looks a little bald. I need a roof. Also need to finish some trapdoors. Let's put those up here for more shutters. If I had that crab claw, I could be able to reach these. Some of you are probably yelling at me right now in the comments, but I don't care. The crab was stupid. So there you go. Plus, I haven't even found a mangrove swamp in this world, so I wouldn't even have a crab. There's a lantern post for our front door. We'll just put a torch there for now to remind us to put a lantern later. I don't have enough iron. I'm poor. Time to add that roof and fix the baldness problem of our house. Here is our deep slate tiled stairs for the roof. This is pretty simple, just ascending upwards, and make sure to add an overhang. The overhang really does make a difference in the depth of your house, both on the sides and on the front here as well. There we go. And let's add them on this side. Boom. Oh, I'm going to trap myself in. All right, there we go. Let's go down here. Oh, missing a little something there on the right. Wasn't I just saying to add those on the side? Do I even listen to myself? There we go. And ooh, let's get a little higher because otherwise it's going to want to place this one upside down. There we go. And now for the underside of this front overhang, we're actually going to add upside down stairs to really complete that diagonal look that they have. It does obviously cost more resources, but I think is very, very worth it to add those in. Let's open a shutter just to give the house a little bit of life. Can I reach it? There we go. Boom. All right. There is our house. You might be saying, it doesn't cover the villager breeder. Well, that's why we have 3 other types of wood. So time to get started on building those. Start with our cherry wood. We're going to be stripping this to keep the pink color throughout. We've got our mangrove kind of coming right off the pink into this red. And then our acacia going from red into orange. And I think this is giving us a very nice color palette. And the big reveal. That is looking nice. Other than this scaffolding, I got to tell the construction crew to clean up after themselves better. Let's look at it again. Got our nice sloping downwards on the hill houses. These row houses look like something from the hills of San Francisco or even from some of the residential areas of New York City that were built around the early 1900s. You can also tell I put the pink away from the house so that way it kind of contrasted there with the orange a little better, I think, behind it. And the depth and height really does make this look like it's a lived-in part of the city. So I'm excited for how that is. Just because you have a villager breeder doesn't mean it has to be ugly, even though the components usually aren't that pretty. We're going to be doing a little bit of landscaping. I am not leaving this exposed dirt underneath. We're going to be using some stone and some stone bricks to make this look nice. We're also going to be adding in a little bit of cooked stone brick, aka when you cook stone brick, it turns into cracked stone brick, and just that's a nice little contrast there to the regular stone brick. We're going to do this all the way up along the sidewalk so that it looks like the foundations of our houses were actually planned. Let's add in some of these acacia leaves as sort of bushes on the side. And remember, this landscaping segment is to remind you to like and subscribe. I appreciate all of those of you who like this video, who have subscribed. But if you want more, be sure to subscribe now so you can keep seeing these videos as they come out. All right, I'm adding on our roof now. We are moving beyond just a front facade. We're actually adding on a roof to protect our villagers from the elements and to keep them safe from monsters and things like that. Did run into a little bit of weird spots on a few spots with the villager breeder, ended up pulling some things down. But there we go. A roof makes the house look a lot more finished. I know, you wouldn't believe it. Speaking of finishing, we have to have sides in the back because, you know, this is a house, not just a movie studio. There we go for the sides. I think we're going to add some plants and stuff in front of here in a future episode, so we don't want to do too much else, but I think that's good enough for now on the side here. And the back is going to be super, super plain, just basically putting in some strip logs for each color along the border of where that house would start, and then filling the rest in with planks, because most of it is going to be buried by this hill back here. And so no reason to do a ton of shaping of something that no one is even going to see. Now, one final component of our villager breeder that we'll want is a way to collect our villagers out of this. And the reason we use glass on the front here is because glass does a little bit of a trick with rails. And you can actually pick up entities like villagers through glass if you run rails right underneath that glass corner there in the front. So I'm going to be adding some power rails here, which you can make with gold and redstone, connecting that to some regular rails. Let's go ahead and make this one higher so we can make sure to get all of the villagers out of there properly. And for now, let's just add a button. When I push the button, the rail will light up. If I put a minecart on that, that would pick up the villagers. All right. Last but not least, I had to go back out and get some clay and cook it for some bricks to add a little bit of chimneys up here, just because I always feel like the smokes and the fireplaces just make the world look a lot more lived in. And had a little bit of an issue. All right, water bucket test time. Ow, that was a fail. I've decided to stop being cheap. I want to finish this project, so I'm adding lanterns. There we go. There we go. I need to get an iron farm soon. There we go. All right. Let's scoot back. Do a little bit of weed clearing here. And let's get a better look at our houses. There it is. There is the world's most beautiful villager breeder. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Let me know what you think of the houses and the designs. Hopefully we'll be having a lot more projects here of building as we're getting more and more tools and more resources, and the villagers are going to help us out a ton with that. I have been Josh Gets Lost, and I'll see you guys next time.